Future NFL Stadiums. Buffalo Bills Stadium. Highmark Stadium is the current stadium for the Buffalo Bills. Back in 2012, the team signed a deal with the state of New York and Erie County to lease the stadium up until 2023. In the deal, the state and Erie County agreed to renovations worth $130 million. Some of those renovations included larger entrance gates, redesigning the area and lots outside of the entrance gates, the scoreboards, and they even got a statue of the team's founder, Ralph Wilson, built outside the team store. Despite all the renovations made to the stadium for the team, the Buffalo Bills still wanted to pursue the idea of a new stadium being built for the team. In 2014, a group made up of powerful individuals came together to look at the team's options. Over the next couple of months, many people would join this group, which consisted of governors, mayors, and CEOs. It wasn't until 2015 the state of New York was able to put out a list of possible locations for a new stadium. But there were many major setbacks after this, because just a few months later in that same year, the Pegulas came out and stated that there was no immediate plans to build a new stadium. Back in 2012, when the idea was first presented, Mark Poloncarz, the Erie County's executive, said building a new stadium in the city of Buffalo wouldn't be possible because too much of the property was privately owned, and trying to seize it for a new stadium would result in lawsuits. He brought the concerns up again in 2019, but backed down in order to keep negotiations going with the team. By then, the pressure for the Buffalo Bills and the state of New York to make a decision had started to build up, as the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell himself came out and made a statement putting a time clock on the stadium dilemma. In August 2021, the Buffalo Bills threatened to relocate to Austin, Texas, after making their first offer of a new stadium to be built in Orchard Park, with a price tag of $1.1 billion. The team was set on getting a new stadium and didn't care about staying in Highmark Stadium even though more renovations were made. By the end of the month, the team had submitted a plan and an official blueprint of the new stadium. The cost ended up going from $1.1 billion to $1.4 billion, and the design of the stadium had 12,000 less seats than the Highmark Stadium. But the design did include a 5,000 standing room only deck, which would increase the capacity to 68,000. The new stadium wouldn't have a roof, but it would still be built in a way where the seats wouldn't be at the mercy of the elements. This would make the new stadium ineligible to host a Super Bowl, but the team was concerned with that anyway, since the city of Buffalo doesn't have the means to handle such a huge event in any case. Plus, they wanted to keep the stadium open for the snowy weather that the city is hit with, as games played in those conditions are good for television. It took quite a while, but on the 28th of March 2022, the state of New York and Erie County announced that they have reached a deal. The Buffalo Bills would be building the new Buffalo Bills Stadium in Orchard Park. It will cost $1.4 billion to be built, with the New York, Erie County, Buffalo Bills and NFL all coming together to pay for it. As of right now, the stadium is on track to be open by fall of 2026 and will be owned by New York. Tennessee Titans Stadium. The Nissan Stadium, located in Nashville, Tennessee, has been the home for the Tennessee Titans since 1999, and it was supposed to stay that way. In order for the Titans to continue to use the stadium, it would have had to undergo major renovations, and somewhere between 2021 and 2022, those renovations were started, only for the team to hit the pause button on them in February 2022. Instead of paying for the high cost of renovating the Nissan Stadium, which was somewhere between $1.75 billion and $1.95 billion, the Tennessee Titans bought up the idea of building a whole new stadium altogether, without meeting much resistance from the state. Despite the fact the lease was supposed to last until 2039, the team would fully commit to the plan. The new stadium will cost $2.1 billion and will be paid for by the team, the state of Tennessee, and revenue bonds issued by Metro Sports Authority. It is set to be a dome stadium with a 60,000 seat capacity and artificial turf field. The new stadium is also set to have 170 luxury suites on hand. As of right now, the new Tennessee Titans Stadium is set to open in the fall of 2026 in the city of Nashville. The Nissan Stadium is set to be demolished after the new stadium is ready to go. The Washington Commanders Stadium. The Washington Commanders might potentially be undergoing another name change by 2027. Right now, the FedEx Field located in Landover, Maryland is the home of the NFL team, and the Commanders are bound by contract to FedEx until after the 2026 NFL season. After that, the Commanders are free to explore other options, and it looks like that is exactly what the president, Jason Wright, plans on doing. He actually isn't wasting any time. As of right now, the team is looking into the idea of having a new stadium built. The team is open to moving to a different state if it is needed. The president stated the team knows it has a timeline to meet, but is closer to finding a location for a new stadium. Washington DC, Virginia, and Maryland are the states with the most potential for landing the Commanders' new stadium. While Maryland has offered to put $400 million into developing the surrounding neighborhoods by FedEx Field, they haven't offered up any money for a new stadium. The team most likely wants a new stadium, as FedEx Field has never been popular with fans. The stadium was built as a replacement for the Robert F. Kennedy Memorial Stadium, where the team had some of their most successful runs. FedEx Field hasn't been able to live up to the RFK Stadium, and it was voted as the worst stadium in the NFL in a recent 2022 poll. The design of the stadium is what's hurting it the most. Over the years, FedEx Field has been through major changes. In 2005, renovations were made to add what would be called dream seats in the first 3 rows of the front of the stadium. These seats were positioned so the fans would be able to see the players on the sidelines, but the plan ended up backfiring as some of the seats were too low. The fans who ended up in the dream seats would have to stand to see the players, and over the years, the Commanders would only go on to take away more and more seats, citing the reason as lack of demand and feedback from season ticket holders. There is the possibility of the Washington Commanders returning to their old beloved Robert F. Kennedy Memorial Stadium after the 2026 season, but in order for that to happen, the team would have to buy the Department of Interior, as RFK Stadium is located on federally owned land. So this idea would seem like a dream that could never come true for the team. Considering the Congress would have to approve of the deal, and the DC City Council would have to write up a stadium deal, as of right now, not much is known about the plans for the Washington Commanders Stadium. All we do know is that President Jason Wright is determined to have a new stadium built for the team by 2027, and it will most likely be in Washington DC, Virginia, or Maryland. The fight for the Chicago Bears. The city of Chicago has been home for the Chicago Bears since 1920, and the team was founded in the Windy City and has been based there since its introduction to the NFL. The city would like to keep it that way, and in order for them to do so, the city is going to have some tough decisions to make in the future. As of right now, the Chicago Bears are in the early stages of moving the team to Arlington Heights, where they plan on building a new stadium for the team, and the organization has even gone as far as purchasing 326 acres of property worth nearly $200 million for a new stadium to be built. The mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, has shared plans to renovate Soldier Field, the current stadium of the team, in order to keep them from going to Arlington Heights. They have presented different models for the renovated stadium. One is fully enclosing the stadium so both ends can be rebuilt with columns so the stadium can support a dome structure. 2 is to just rebuild the both end zones with columns to make it dome ready. The third and final plan is to modify Soldier Field, making it a multi-purpose stadium, improving it for a soccer team and other huge events. The Chicago Bears have stated they plan to dismiss all of the renovations in favour of a new stadium. The team's lease tying them to Soldier Field doesn't expire until 2033, but the organisation could opt out in 2026. If the Bears choose to opt out, they will be hit with an $84 million penalty. In September 2021, the team signed the deal to purchase the land that formerly held the Arlington International Racecourse, and on November 7, 2022, the trustees of Arlington Heights added onto the deal by approving a zoning change, which will ultimately allow the Chicago Bears to build a sports betting facility. This is all part of a $5 billion proposal from the team to get a new stadium. The Chicago Bears are legally obligated to remain at Soldier Field until 2026, giving the city of Chicago 3 years to convince them not to leave. But it seems that the organisation has made up their mind on what they want, and it is unlikely that they will stay. Even so, Lori Lightfoot might still go ahead with the renovations of Soldier Field in a last desperate ploy to keep the NFL team there. The city might even go so far as to offer the Bears a new stadium in Chicago altogether, but the clock is ticking. Gillette Stadium renovations. The New England Patriots have called Gillette Stadium home for the past 20 years, and it doesn't look like that is going to change any time soon. Unlike most teams on this list, the Patriots are content with the stadium that they have and are going to renovate it, instead of just up and moving to a new stadium or even to a new state. In December 2021, it was announced that Gillette Stadium would be undergoing a major renovation project. The renovations will cost up to $225 million, and the construction of the stadium started in January 2022. The new and improved stadium is scheduled to be completed prior to the start of the 2023 season, to avoid interfering with the current season and ongoing events. The renovations will include a 22,000 square feet outdoor video board that will be installed at the north end of the stadium. It will make it double the size of the video board on the south end. Game action, replays, statistics and fantasy football updates will be presented on the video board. It will be the largest video board in the country. A new 218 feet lighthouse is set to be built to provide 360-degree views of not only the stadium but also the Patriot Place, the town of Foxborough and beyond. 75,000 square feet of hospitality and function spaces will be built to bridge the gap between the East and West Putnam clubs, the Dell Technologies suite levels and the upper concourse. This new feature will provide 360-degree connectivity, something that only the main level has right now. The lighthouse will be available for visiting fans year-round and private events. These renovations are being made to make the experience for fans even better, a goal that the Kraft family takes very seriously to stay ahead of their ever-evolving entertainment history.